Every game has broken metas, and Marvel Rivals is no different. Some strategies dominate so hard that they become essential to high-level play, forcing teams to either adapt or lose. Today, we're breaking down the most overpowered metas in Marvel Rivals, why they work, how they shape the game, and whether they need a nerf. Ever wonder why Loki and Luna Snow rarely make it past the ban phase in competitive play? It's because when they're in the game, the fight is practically rigged. Loki and Luna Snow are two of the most banned supports in competitive play, and for good reason. Their kits offer game-changing abilities that define high-level team compositions. Loki is the core of many broken metas because he does everything. He provides team-wide healing, deception tools, and ultimate flexibility. His clone mechanic allows teams to create distractions and bait enemy cooldowns, while his totem keeps his allies alive far longer than they should be. On top of that, Loki has one of the strongest support ultimates in the game. When combined with aggressive duelists of tanks, he creates a near unstoppable frontline, making him an auto-pick unless banned. Luna Snow's power lies in her ability to enable aggressive carries. Her damage amplification allows high-burst characters like Namor, Bucky, and Storm to delete enemies in seconds. Her team-wide sustain also keeps her team alive in prolonged fights, making her the perfect counterpart to tank-heavy metas. Luna also pairs perfectly with dive-heavy compositions, where her speed buffs and healing keep initiators like Wolverine, Thor, or Venom alive long enough to secure kills. Because of this, she's another top-ban priority in high-level play. If you thought Loki was bad on his own, imagine a world where he gets a second life. That's what happens when Hela and Loki are on the same team. Hela is already one of the most powerful supports in the game, but when combined with Loki, she becomes outright broken. Her resurrection mechanic allows a dead ally to come back, and when that ally is Loki, the impact is massive. Loki is already difficult to kill thanks to his clone abilities and totems, but adding a Hela revive means that even if you somehow manage to take him down, he just comes back. This turns any fight into an uphill battle for the enemy team. Even worse, if Hela revives a Loki while his totem is still active, it instantly resets, allowing him to keep his team alive indefinitely. This means teams running his combo can outlast almost any engagement, making them nearly impossible to wipe out. This meta-defining strategy is why both Hela and Loki are often banned or countered with extreme focus fire. If you've played Rank, you've seen this team composition. It's everywhere, and for good reason. It wins. This team composition is one of the strongest in Marvel Rivals, and it has been dominating both competitive and ranked play. Each character plays a specific role that makes the team incredibly hard to deal with. Groot controls space, blocks sightlines, and isolates tanks. Doctor Strange provides frontline pressure, teleport mobility, and area control. Loki, the backbone of team sustain and deception. Winter Soldier excels at confirming kills with long-range burst. Luna Snow provides damage amplification and healing. Namor, lockdown and burst potential, great at securing objectives. This composition is all about space control and denying enemy options. Groot and Strange work together to cut off key sightlines, forcing enemies into choke points where Winter Soldier and Namor can punish them. Loki and Luna keep the entire team alive and amplified, ensuring they win fights over time. This team is so strong that it forces other teams to play specific counter comps. If Loki is banned, teams often swap in Invisible Woman for extra shielding, while Storm sometimes replaces Bucky for better AoE pressure. The fact that teams must build around countering this exact setup shows how meta-defining it is. Not every meta is unstoppable. Sometimes a counterplay emerges. Enter Wolverine. Wolverine is one of the few characters that can consistently counter Groot's dominance. His aggressive playstyle, combined with his ability to cut through tanks with ease, makes him a powerful counterpick in situations where Groot is a heavy presence on the battlefield. When facing a strong Wolverine player, teams often adapt by shifting to a Magneto plus the Thing setup. Here's why this combo works effectively. The Thing's durability and brawling ability. The Thing excels in brawling situations without being easily grabbed or overwhelmed by Wolverine's aggressive attacks. His tanky nature and solid crowd control allow him to hold his ground against Wolverine, giving him the ability to trade blows and effectively absorb damage without being shut down by Wolverine's relentless offense. Magneto's shields and crowd control. Magneto's shields and crowd control abilities are crucial in helping the Thing stay alive in extended fights. Magneto can provide crucial protection to the Thing, enhancing his survivability and giving him the sustain he needs to match Wolverine in direct combat. The crowd control also makes it harder for Wolverine to engage and disengage at will, making him easier to manage in the fight. No need for a ban. This setup allows teams to counter Wolverine without having to use a ban, which opens up space for targeting other powerful characters like Loki or Luna Snow. Instead of wasting a ban on Wolverine, teams can focus on eliminating other high-impact threats. A adjusting their strategy to counter the full scope of the enemy team. This is a clear example of how the meta evolves in response to new strategies and counter picks. Rather than relying solely on bans, teams are learning to adapt and shift their compositions, using strategic counters like Magneto plus the Thing to handle threats like Wolverine. This creates a more dynamic and flexible meta, where the best teams are able to outmaneuver their opponents with intelligent picks and counterplays. For a long time, the Thing was seen as a normal character. Now, he's a problem. The Thing has been quietly climbing the meta thanks to his ability to disrupt dive compositions and hold his ground against aggressive duelists. As the game evolves, his strategic value is becoming more apparent, making him a strong pick for teams looking to counter certain threats. Disrupting dive compositions. The Thing's stun and knockback abilities make him a natural counter to dive-heavy strategies. Dive compositions often rely on quick, aggressive engagements where high-mobility characters jump in and out of the fray. The Thing's crowd control abilities disrupt this flow, preventing dive characters from easily executing their high-risk tactics. This allows him to lock down key threats and give his team breathing room to reposition or counterattack. Synergy with Magneto. The Thing's synergy with Magneto enhances his effectiveness even further. Magneto can provide shielding and utility, keeping the Thing protected, while he takes up the front line and draws attention away from more fragile teammates. This combination makes the Thing even more formidable in team fights, as he can absorb damage and still dish it out, with Magneto helping to keep him alive longer. Ultimate generation and long fight potential. One of the Thing's standout traits is his ability to generate ultimates quickly. This makes him an extremely high-impact tank during prolonged fights. As the battle drags on, he can repeatedly cycle his ultimate, providing consistent disruption and damage mitigation for his team. This makes him incredibly valuable in longer skirmishes, where his presence can turn the tide in his team's favor. As teams continue to search for solutions to counter dive heavy compositions, expect to see the Thing becoming a staple pick in high-level matches. His ability to control aggressive duelists and hold his ground against fast-paced strategies make him an indispensable asset in both defensive and offensive setups. Not all meta comps rely on brute force. Some use flexibility. This trio is gaining traction as a flexible and versatile setup that fits multiple playstyles, particularly for players looking to break away from the traditional meta and explore a more dynamic strategy. Adam plays a crucial role by providing ranged poke and sustain. His ability to deal consistent damage from a distance allows the team to apply pressure while maintaining a safe position. This not only helps to weaken enemies over time, but also ensures the team has a source of healing, keeping them in the fight longer without relying too heavily on other members for support. Mantis enhances the overall team durability with her crowd control and healing abilities. Her crowd control effects allow her to disrupt enemy movement and positioning, making it harder for opponents to execute their strategies. Meanwhile, her healing abilities help mitigate damage, ensuring the team stays resilient during longer skirmishes and high-stakes engagements. Mantis's presence on the battlefield can be a game changer, allowing her teammates to stay in the fight when it would otherwise be lost. Star-Lord adds immense value with his high ground control and mobility, which makes him ideal for vertical playstyles. His mobility allows him to move fluidly across the map, reaching elevated positions and taking advantage of key high ground locations. This grants him a strategic edge, allowing him to both scout the area and pick off enemies who are less mobile. His ability to control these high ground spots gives the team not only vision, but also a significant damage boost from superior positioning. This composition thrives on maps that feature strong high ground positions, making it a natural alternative to the traditional meta compositions that rely on more static, ground-level playstyles. The flexibility of this trio enables a more dynamic and adaptable approach, giving players the ability to mix range damage, healing, and vertical advantage. Whether engaging in mid-range skirmishes or setting up for aggressive high ground control, this team can handle a wide range of situations, making it a popular choice for those who like to play with a bit more strategic depth. Venom isn't a must-pick, but when played right, he's dangerous in the right hands. Venom is a situational but powerful pick, primarily played alongside Magneto. While he doesn't fit into traditional dive comps, he brings a unique pressure-based playstyle that can disrupt enemy formations and force critical cooldowns. Cooldown baiting. Unlike standard duelists who rely on burst damage, Venom excels at forcing the enemy to waste key abilities. His presence alone pressures opponents into prematurely using stuns, movement skills, and ultimates, leaving them vulnerable for his team to capitalize. Sustained brawler. Venom thrives in extended fights, where he can continuously apply pressure without committing fully. His self-sustain and tankiness make him difficult to burst down, allowing him to survive longer than most duelists. Magneto's synergy. Magneto's shields provide Venom with additional durability, enabling him to play even more aggressively. Magneto's ultimate can also serve as a setup tool, giving Venom the opportunity to follow up with devastating melee combos. Forces enemy bans. When played at a high level, Venom is frustrating to deal with. His ability to continuously pressure the backline and tank frontline aggression means that teams often ban him outright, freeing up broken picks like Loki or Luna Snow for his team. Anti dive potential. While he works in some dive compositions, Venom is also effective at punishing enemy divers. His ability to absorb damage and counterpunch makes him an excellent pick against aggressive duelists like Wolverine or Namor. Objective control. Venom's presence on the battlefield forces enemies to react, making him a strong pick for holding space and contesting objectives. If the enemy wastes their resources trying to deal with him, the rest of his team gains an advantage. While Venom isn't a must-pick in every comp, teams that understand how to play around his strengths can turn him into a meta-defining force. His mix of pressure, sustain, and disruption makes him a dangerous wildcard pick, capable of shifting the pace of any match. Thor is not a meta staple, but he shines on maps with strong high ground control. His ability to contest vertical space makes him a valuable pick on maps where controlling high ground determines the flow of battle. Unlike many tanks and duelists, Thor can reach elevated positions with ease, allowing him to challenge snipers and airborne threats directly. He counters snipers and airborne threats, making life difficult for characters like Storm and Star-Lord, who rely on high ground safety. Works as a flex pick in compositions that need an extra duelist, providing both frontline pressure and burst damage when needed. Strong synergy with Hela and Loki when left unbanned. Hela's resurrection keeps him in the fight longer, while Loki's totems allow him to play aggressively without fear of immediate punishment. His ultimate can disrupt clustered enemies on objectives, making him a strong choice for breaking bunker-style defensive setups. While not a core meta pick, Thor's situational strength makes him an underrated but deadly choice. In the right hands, he can single-handedly shift control of vertical-heavy maps, making him a valuable niche counter in the evolving meta. He counters snipers and airborne threats, works as a flex pick in compositions that need an extra duelist, strong synergy with Hela and Loki when left unbanned. While not a core meta pick, Thor's situational strength makes him an underrated but deadly choice.